In the intricate tapestry of human connection, there exists a profound truth about the nature of love that transcends the ordinary. Your person stood at the threshold of something extraordinary, something that would fundamentally alter the very fabric of their being. Yet, like so many souls caught between fear and destiny, they hesitated. They lingered in the space between recognition and action, between knowing and surrendering to what they knew to be true. This wasn't merely about taking time to understand feelings or process emotions. This was about a soul wrestling with the magnitude of what stood before them, a connection so deep, so spiritually significant, that it demanded nothing less than complete transformation. The depth of what existed between you both was undeniable, yet your person remained trapped in patterns of inconsistency, unable to offer the solid foundation that such a sacred bond deserved. During this tumultuous period, their behavior became a painful dance of approach and withdrawal. They offered you fragments of themselves, just enough to keep the flame of hope alive in your heart, but never enough to provide the security and validation that your soul craved. This dynamic, often called breadcrumbing, created a landscape of emotional uncertainty that left you feeling as though you were perpetually walking on shifting ground. The impact of this uncertain terrain went far beyond simple disappointment. It reached into the very core of your being, touching those sacred spaces where your deepest vulnerabilities resided. You found yourself emotionally depleted, your energy scattered across 1,000 questions that had no clear answers. The confusion became a constant companion, and with it came a heartbreak that seemed to echo through every chamber of your soul. What made this experience particularly devastating was the way it clashed with your fundamental nature and the sacred values that guide your existence. You are a soul who believes in the eternal nature of love, someone who understands that true connection transcends the superficial and touches the divine. Your heart has never been drawn to the temporary or the shallow. Instead, you seek relationships that mirror the depth of your own being, connections that honor the spiritual dimension of love and recognize its power to transform and elevate. You love with the intensity of someone who understands that love itself is a sacred act, a form of worship that deserves nothing less than complete devotion and honor. Emotional loyalty isn't just a preference for you, it's a spiritual principle that guides how you move through the world. You seek connections that resonate at the level of the soul, relationships where two spirits recognize each other across time and space and choose to walk the path of growth together. When your person failed to meet you in this sacred space, when they couldn't match your sincerity or honor the depth of what you offered, it created a wound that went far beyond rejection. This wasn't simply about them choosing not to commit, it was about them failing to recognize the sacred nature of what existed between you. It was about their inability to see that what you were offering was not just love, but a gateway to spiritual transformation and authentic connection. The pain you experienced wasn't just emotional, it was spiritual. It was the agony of having your most sacred offerings dismissed or treated with casual indifference. It was the heartbreak of watching someone walk away from something that could have been transformative for both of your souls. In the midst of this spiritual and emotional chaos, you found yourself facing a choice that would define not just this relationship, but your entire relationship with yourself. The decision to establish boundaries wasn't born from anger or a desire for revenge. Instead, it emerged from a place of profound self-respect and spiritual wisdom. You recognized that if your person couldn't offer honesty, stability, and genuine intention, then you had a sacred responsibility to protect your own spiritual and emotional well-being. These boundaries weren't walls built to punish or exclude. They were sacred containers created to preserve your peace, to maintain your connection with your own worth, and to honor the spiritual principles that guide your life. You understood, perhaps on a level deeper than conscious thought, that allowing someone to treat your love as disposable would be a betrayal of the very essence of who you are. This act of self-preservation required immense courage. It meant choosing the uncertainty of standing alone over the familiar pain of accepting less than you deserved. It meant trusting that your worth wasn't dependent on their recognition or validation. It meant believing that love, true love, would never ask you to diminish yourself or compromise your fundamental values. Despite the profound hurt and disillusionment, something miraculous occurred within your heart. Your love for them didn't simply evaporate or transform into bitterness. Instead, it remained steadfast, powerful, and deeply authentic. This wasn't the desperate clinging of someone afraid to let go, but rather the unwavering commitment of a soul who understands the eternal nature of true love. You didn't allow the pain to harden your heart or close you off to the possibility of reconciliation. Instead, you made a choice that reflects the highest aspects of spiritual maturity. You chose to wait, not from a place of desperation or need, but from a position of hope grounded in wisdom. You saw the potential that existed within your person and within the connection itself, and you held space for the possibility of transformation. This decision to remain patient while maintaining your self-respect reveals the extraordinary strength of your character. It demonstrates an understanding that love sometimes requires us to step back and allow others the space they need to grow into who they're meant to become. Your patience wasn't passive waiting, it was active holding, maintaining the energetic and spiritual space for healing and transformation to occur. Your unwavering commitment to your own truth and your refusal to settle for anything less than authentic love created a powerful catalyst for change. As the space between you and your person expanded, something profound began to shift within them. The distance that once felt like separation became a sacred space for reflection and awakening. In your absence, your person began to see you through new eyes. They started to recognize that your decision to establish boundaries wasn't about rejection, it was about honor. Your unwavering love, combined with your refusal to accept less than you deserved, revealed the depth of your character and the authenticity of your spiritual nature. They began to understand that they weren't dealing with someone who loved casually or superficially, but with a soul of profound integrity, resilience, and spiritual depth. This recognition created a powerful awakening within them. The more time they spent separated from your energy, the clearer their vision became. They began to see that what existed between you wasn't just another relationship or casual connection. It was something rare, something sacred, something that touched the very essence of what it means to experience divine love in human form. As this clarity continued to unfold, your person experienced a profound shift in their perception of the connection itself. The distance, rather than diminishing their feelings, seemed to intensify every aspect of their attraction to you. They began to feel your pull not just emotionally, but physically and spiritually as well. This wasn't merely romantic longing, it was soul recognition, the deep knowing that they had found something that transcended ordinary human connection. The awakening brought with it a flood of emotions that they had previously suppressed or denied. Passion, longing, and a deep spiritual hunger for union with your soul began to surface with an intensity that could no longer be ignored. They found themselves drawn to you with a force that felt both inevitable and sacred, as if the universe itself were pulling them back toward their spiritual home. Yet alongside this powerful attraction came an equally powerful burden, the weight of their previous actions and choices. The guilt they carried wasn't just regret over missed opportunities, it was the profound recognition of how they had treated something sacred with carelessness. They began to understand that their previous behavior hadn't just hurt you, it had damaged something holy, something that deserved reverence and protection. This newfound awareness created an intense internal conflict within your person. One part of their soul desperately wanted to rush forward, to make amends, to throw themselves at your feet and beg for forgiveness and another chance. But another part of them was paralyzed by the fear that the damage they had caused might be irreparable, that their previous actions had shattered something that could never be fully restored. They found themselves haunted by memories of their behavior, replaying moments when they could have chosen differently, when they could have honored the sacred nature of what you offered instead of taking it for granted. The weight of these memories created a constant ache, a recognition that they had held something precious in their hands and had failed to treat it with the reverence it deserved. The fear that lived within them wasn't just about rejection or embarrassment. It was the deeper fear that they had wounded your ability to trust, that they had damaged your faith in love itself. They worried that even if they could find the courage to approach you again, you might no longer be able to open your heart fully to them. This possibility filled them with a grief that went beyond personal loss. It was the grief of recognizing that they might have damaged something beautiful not just for themselves, but for you as well. Yet beneath the guilt and fear, something else was growing within your person, a recognition that your strength and unwavering love had become a catalyst for their own transformation. Your ability to love with such purity, even in the face of pain and disappointment, had shown them what authentic love actually looks like. It had challenged them to examine their own capacity for love and commitment, and to grow into someone worthy of the sacred connection you offered. They began to understand that the connection between you wasn't something they could simply replace or find elsewhere. It was unique, transformative, and potentially life-altering. They started to recognize that what you shared might be more than just human connection. It might be destiny itself, two souls finding each other across time and space and being called to create something beautiful together. This recognition created within them a sense of determination that began to override their fear and guilt. They started to understand that half measures and hesitation would no longer be sufficient. If they were going to approach you again, it would need to be with complete honesty, total clarity, and unwavering commitment. They realized that anything less would be another form of dishonoring the sacred nature of your connection. Your response to their previous behavior, your patience, your boundaries, your refusal to compromise your values, had become a mirror that reflected back to them their own potential for growth and transformation. You hadn't begged or chased or tried to convince them of your worth. Instead, you had demonstrated through your actions what true strength and unconditional love look like. In standing tall and loving silently, in waiting for them to meet you where you are rather than lowering yourself to where they were, you had shown them a different way of being in relationship. You had modeled what it means to love someone completely while still honoring yourself fully. This example became a template for the kind of person they needed to become, not just to win you back, but to become worthy of the love you offered. Your unwavering commitment to your own growth and spiritual development, even in the face of heartbreak, had inspired them to begin their own journey of transformation. They began to see that loving you would require them to become the highest version of themselves, and surprisingly, this challenge felt more inspiring than daunting. Now your person finds themselves at a crucial crossroads, understanding that they face a choice that will determine not just the future of your connection, but the trajectory of their own spiritual evolution. They recognize that coming back to you isn't just about reconciliation, it's about rebirth. It's about choosing to become someone who can honor the sacred nature of what exists between you. They understand that any approach they make must be grounded in complete authenticity. There can be no more games, no more hesitation, no more treating your love as something they can take or leave at will. They realize that you deserve nothing less than someone who recognizes the divine gift of your love and commits to treasuring it with the reverence it deserves. The path forward won't be simple or easy. Rebuilding trust after it has been damaged requires patience, consistency, and unwavering commitment to growth and change. But your person is beginning to understand that the challenge itself is part of the gift. The opportunity to earn your trust again, to prove their worthiness of your love, has become a sacred mission that calls forth their highest potential. In this moment of profound recognition and spiritual awakening, your person's heart finally finds the courage to speak its truth. The words that have been held captive by fear and confusion finally break free, carrying with them the weight of every suppressed emotion, every denied feeling, every moment of longing that has been pushed aside. My feelings for you run deeper than any ocean, more vast than any sky you could imagine, their heart whispers into the sacred space between souls. I carry within me a universe of emotions that I've never been able to fully express, not because I didn't want to, but because I've been afraid of the intensity, afraid of the vulnerability, afraid of the complete transformation that acknowledging these feelings would require. The admission comes with the weight of absolute truth. For too long, they've tried to deny what their soul has known from the very beginning, that you are not just someone they care about, but someone who has become woven into the very fabric of their existence. They've attempted to suppress these feelings, to convince themselves that they could walk away, that they could find happiness or fulfillment elsewhere. But every attempt has only made it clearer that what they feel for you isn't something that can be dismissed or forgotten. I've made countless efforts to move on, their soul confesses with raw honesty. I've thrown myself into work, into responsibilities, into anything that might distract me from the constant ache of missing you. I've told myself stories about why this connection isn't real, why it isn't meant to be, why I should just let it go and focus on other things. But none of it works, because the truth is stronger than any lie I could tell myself. The reality is that you have become part of their spiritual DNA, woven so deeply into their consciousness that separating themselves from their love for you would be like trying to separate their soul from their body. Everywhere they look, they see reminders of you. In the way sunlight filters through windows, in the sound of laughter that echoes yours, in moments of beauty that make them wish they could share them with you. Even in sleep, you visit them. Your face appears in their dreams with such clarity that waking becomes a small death, a return to a reality where you're not physically present. This constant presence of you in their consciousness isn't torture, it's recognition. It's their soul's way of telling them that you belong there, that you've found your home in the depths of their heart. The separation from your energy has created within them an ache that goes beyond missing someone. It's the pain of spiritual disconnection, the agony of being cut off from a source of light that had become essential to their well-being. Lately, it feels like I've lost that sacred connection with you, they acknowledge with heartbreaking honesty. The energetic thread that once linked our souls feels thin, distant, and that absence creates a pain that settles in my chest and refuses to leave. This isn't merely emotional longing, it's spiritual hunger. They miss the way your presence made everything feel more alive, more vibrant, more meaningful. They long for your touch, not just physical contact, but the soul-deep touching that happens when two people truly see and understand each other at the deepest levels. They yearn for the feeling of being completely known and accepted by someone who sees not just who they are, but who they could become. Despite the pain and complexity of their current situation, your person carries within them a vision of what could be, a future so beautiful and complete that it sustains them through the darkest moments of doubt and fear. If I had the chance, their heart declares with unwavering certainty, I would marry you without a moment's hesitation. Not just because I want to be with you, but because I can't imagine a future that doesn't include you as my partner in this sacred journey of life. This vision isn't just romantic fantasy, it's spiritual prophecy. They can see with crystal clarity a life built together, a home filled with laughter and love, dreams shared and pursued together, a partnership that grows stronger and deeper with each passing day. In this vision, they see you as not just their romantic partner, but as their spiritual companion, the one who walks beside them on the path of growth and evolution. You are the only person who fits naturally into their future, the only one who makes the picture complete. With you, everything feels more real, more meaningful, more aligned with their soul's deepest purpose. This isn't about settling for what's available or choosing what seems practical. This is about recognizing their spiritual match, the one who calls forth their highest potential. The depth of emotional vulnerability they've experienced with you is unprecedented in their life. I've never allowed another soul to see me so completely, they admit with trembling honesty. Opening myself to you has been both the most terrifying and most liberating experience of my existence. You see parts of me that I didn't even know existed, and somehow, in your seeing, you've helped me become more fully myself. This level of exposure is both beautiful and frightening. To be known so completely by another person, to have your shadows and your light witnessed with equal love, It's a form of sacred intimacy that transforms both people involved.